Encourage your kids to develop an entrepreneurial mindset at a young age. The truth is, you're never too young to run your own business, and here to prove that is Mychal Connolly, Chief Marketing Officer for the Cambridge Entrepreneur Academy. Nice to have you here, Mike.
Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it.
Now, this is something that's really cool. We think, you know, be a kid, don't work while you're a kid, enjoy life, but there are so many benefits to learning entrepreneurship at an early age. And the first, you actually have an example from your life.
Yeah, I started my first company when I was 9 years old, was able to retire my grandmother in 2 years, and it was because I started a little candy company, and the kids kept buying the candy, and she left her job, and it was cool.
Yeah, and there you go. And then she was able to enjoy life, and then now you took all those skills and you're able to use them in your life as an adult. Exactly. So let's go through some tips on how you can encourage your son or daughter to think that way and start young. So learning business at an early age can give you a good business foundation, which a lot of kids don't really have nowadays.
Right, and once they start learning how businesses work, the different parts and pieces about businesses, it kind of gives them a head start as to what they want to do when they become an adult as well.
Yes, exactly. They start thinking about that. And you have a chance to save money for college, which mom and dad love, because then they're not the only ones that are putting it in the piggy bank.
Right, when kids start making their own money, one of the things they don't want to do is spend it. So they just kind of tend to save it. But if they save it with a goal in mind, it becomes a lot easier for them. And quite frankly, kids have very little to spend their money on. They may buy some candy or something, but they don't really spend that money, so they can save that, and they can make pretty good money.
Right, they don't have the kind of bills that adults have, so they can save that. Also, self-respect, something that when you earn your own money, you have a lot of respect for yourself and what you've earned.
Right, a lot of pride comes with earning your own money. Just like even as an adult, you know, when when you become independent, when you leave the house, right, and you become an adult, and you go, man, I can take care of myself. But if you do that as a kid, and if mom or dad doesn't want to buy you that video game, you can say, hey, you know what, I have my $50. I want to go and buy my own video game. So you kind of feel pride in that.
Exactly. And that's something that we know as an adult. We feel proud when we are able to earn something. So learning that at a young age is very, very beneficial. Learning about business, like you mentioned before, helps you decide what you want to do in life, whether you do go to college or not. It gives you a better idea of what you want to do. Right.
And once again, once the kids start to understand the different pieces of a business, because there's so many pieces to run a successful business, they could hone in on the thing that they're really good at. So they could go to school, go to college, and kind of skill up or level up that skill, so when they come back out, if they decide to start a business in that field, they'll be great at it, or they could work in someone else's business and be great at it.
Yes, and as we see here, you're never too young to start having that business mindset. And also, there are so many benefits to being an entrepreneur. You can really make so much more money than if you were to work for someone else.
Well, yeah, like for example, my sons are 7 and 8, and last holiday break, they made $154 on their own. Now their allowance is $20 each, and what they did was they raked some leaves, they moved some wood, and they turned in some cans. So, and that's how entrepreneurs work, because we almost at the top of the totem pole, so we kind of delegate where the money goes, and so you pay yourself well.
Yes, exactly, and it also, you catch the bug when you start to realize, oh wow, when I work, I get paid. You want to keep on working and working hard.
It's true.
Because you are going to reap those benefits.
Exactly.
Especially when it is something that you really have a lot of respect for,
right,
and passion for. So it does have a much greater potential for really earning more money in the long run. Learning how to problem solve, not just something that we can benefit from as a child, but as an adult.
Exactly. Well, like we go into a lot of schools, K through college, and we talk to kids about entrepreneurship and showing them like how the skills they're learning in school can help them solve more problems. So when you think about it, if a child doesn't really like math, but you realize that you need math to run your business, or they don't like science, but they're into like solving problems through science, whatever it may be, entrepreneurship is a great way to teach them how to appreciate those skills. And you get to surround yourself with kids that are better than you at stuff, so you learn to work with people that are better than you at certain things, but you could work together and solve a problem. So that's the skill that every successful entrepreneur will tell you. They don't do it by themselves. They have a team of people that help them. So when you understand and learn that as a kid, that's something that you keep doing as an adult.
Yes, and it gets easier the more you do it. Now let's talk about 4 types of businesses that kids can run. obviously, you know, there's some things that they just can't do, be a banker, you know, those kind of things. But what can they do successfully as a kid? The first one that you have is something that they can do every day or a few days a week.
Yeah, so like, for example, they can take trash cans out, and people might say, well, trash cans don't go out every day. Yeah, but they can clean them on the off days, or they could babysit. Or, you know, they could do simple things that when they feel like.
Right, exactly. So, okay, I have my Saturday off, I don't have school, I'll go and go to my neighbor's houses and do this and make money.
Right.
Then there's the once a week job, like delivering the Sunday paper.
Right, exactly. So they have that dedicated day to do that dedicated task, and they learn discipline, because they know no matter what, these people are dependent on me, so I have to show up and do it.
Yes. And you know you're going to make money when you do it.
Exactly.
The seasonal job, so doing a business while you are on break.
Right. So I have these two cool girls in the academy. They create these candle holders from birch trees, old birch trees, and they sell them around Christmas time. So sometimes they can wait until they're out of school to run the full business for those 2, 3, 4. Well, summertime is like about 8 weeks. Yep. So you have that stretch to run the business, so they could do them during those seasons.
Yes, so they can really focus hard on that, so that while they're in school, they're not stressing out about money because they worked hard to earn it prior to.
Exactly.
Which is a really good thing. And then, of course, the job you do when you want to do it, like a lemonade stand, which we are all familiar with, and you can make some serious dough.
Right. I like to call that the sweet hustle. So when they want to get something, they go, you know what, let's sell some lemonade, right? So they always understand how to make money, almost kind of create money out of thin air. So when you understand that, you never really feel financially enslaved, because you know no matter what, you have the keys to financial freedom. If you just go out and do something, go out and make money. And if you start thinking about it as a kid, as an adult, you'll never really be stressed out when it comes to finances.
What is it, the sweet hustle?
Yeah.
So whenever I need some cash, I'm going to set up a lemonade stand on my driveway.
That's it. And
then half goes to charity and half goes to diapers. Thank you so much, Mychal. Nice to have you here. Always fun.
Thank you.